Welcome to postseason basketball tonight. The NIT first round from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, home of the LSU Tigers, where tonight it's the Sun Belt in town to face the SEC and the Louisiana Raging Cajuns versus LSU. And the winner of this game gets the winner of Utah and UC Davis. Last night, St. Mary's, the #1 seed, taking care of business. They await the winner of Boise State and Washington. We are thrilled to have you with us tonight. I'm Drew Felios alongside Bob Valvano. There you see the two head coaches, Will Wade and Bob Marlin. And Valvano, this is going to be an awesome matchup here tonight.
Well, it should be entertaining. Both teams play high energy, and there's a lot on the line. Certainly, Louisiana wants to validate their record-setting regular season with 27 wins, beat an SEC team on the road, and this LSU team, after a terrible year last year, to make it to the postseason is a big step forward. They're excited here in Baton Rouge.
LSU 7 wins better than a season ago. Their 8th NIT appearance, wearing the home white tonight. And you can already hear some of the fans getting into it. A good crowd on hand here to watch this one, and we're underway. From Baton Rouge, Marcus Stroman running the point tonight for Louisiana. Our officials, Doug Shows, Todd Austin, and KB Burdette. Offensive foul.
Illegal screen, I believe he called, or did he call a warding off on the drive?
See the starting five for Louisiana. Very talented lineup. The Raging Cajuns having their best season ever, Bob.
Well, they have 3 1,000-point scorers. One of those just got called for an offensive foul there, number 4, Frank Bartley. They got a lot of firepower. They can beat you a lot of different ways.
Lamont Waters, the talented freshman point guard. Bad pass that time. It was picked up, though, by Sampson. He'll miss the short jumper, and the rebound out to Frank Bartley. School record for the Raging Cajuns, 27 wins coming into tonight, and they're on the board with a Bartley 3.
Well, that young man does everything for this team. Averages over 17.5 points a game, leads them in three-pointers made and taken, free throws made and taken. And you saw right there, he has turned himself into a shooter. He used to be more of a slasher. Now he can shoot the rock.
How about that matchup tonight? Bartley against Waters, the senior against the freshman. Marcus Stroman, the South Carolina transfer, has done wonders for this Cajuns lineup. Has the shot off and picked up by Darrell Edwards. Reith inside. He's got to play well tonight. He lost it as he was trying to go to his left, and now the Cajuns can run. Up off the glass, and it's 5-0. As scoring was Johnathan Stove, who's in the starting lineup tonight.
Coming back off, not 100% off of an ankle sprain, but his coach Bob Marlin told me he's probably about 90%. He looked good there, getting the 5th point of the ball game for the Cajuns.
First time these two programs have matched up since 2009, and you can sense it means a lot to the Cajuns here in Baton Rouge. They're off to the fast start as Stove scores with the left hand, and the Sea of Red making some noise here in the early going.
One of the things that, you'd see an SEC team and you think, boy, they might really be able to pound them on the glass, but this Louisiana team can really rebound the ball. In fact, 17th in the country in rebounding margin. And you can see right now they're taking care of the defensive glass and turning it into points.
Well, different rules we're playing under tonight as you look at the variations for NIT. Bob, what rule do you think is going to have the biggest effect on this game?
Well, the fans will notice the 4 10-minute quarters early, most easily. You look at the scoreboard and you're still thinking in your mind, like right now, 8:03 to go in the half and it's 7-0. You got to remind yourself you're playing quarters. But the beauty of that is the fouls reset, as you see there. 2 free throws with the 5th foul of each quarter. I love that because sometimes you'd have some sloppy play early, a lot of fouls, and now you're spending 17 minutes shooting free throws. The other one is the deeper three-point line, 20 inches back. That actually might have the biggest impact. I did a game last night. I did the Louisville game against Northern Kentucky, and the three-point shooting was not great. I think that extra 1.5 feet makes a difference for guys.
Saw Coach Wade calling the early timeout. He said, didn't get too much into the rivalry. Just said, we have got to win in advance in this tournament and just get that feeling again, what it's like to play in big-time tournaments like this, and there's a good way to get going as Reith with a little jump hook off the glass.
Well, you can tell out of the timeout, he wanted to pound it inside. He went to his two go-to guys, his brilliant guard Waters, who he trusts to make the pass, and Reith to finish.
Reith got a piece that time, and it'll be Cajuns basketball.
He's the leading shot blocker on this team, and you said earlier a minute ago, Drew, he's got to have a big game tonight, and here he is, scoring at one end, blocking it on the other, and the fans think the ball might have hit the Louisiana player on the way out. They wanted the ball back, but it's a good defensive play nonetheless. Here's a little, I thought they're playing zone, but they're not. They're back man-to-man.
Johnathan with the basketball. Was not healthy last week at the Sun Belt tournament as Bartley hits another one. Can this kid shoot?
Well, I mean, for a guy, like I said, he was not known as a shooter. He was a slasher. To that comfortably and confidently, deep in the shot clock, just knocked down a three.
Epps lost it. Tigers have got to be secure with the basketball. Reith in that spot once again, poked away. Numbers again for the Cajuns. Stroman probably should have gone up with it that time and stepped on the line.
Well, he fumbled it. Yeah, that would have been a nice assist for Bartley. And, you know, you talk about turnovers. How about this number? Louisiana on the season averages almost 18 points a game off turnovers. Their opponents only 13. That's significant. 5-point margin there. And second chance points, they have almost a 4-point margin there. So they're somewhere between 8 and 9 points better than their opponent in points off turnovers and second chance points. That's a lot of ground to make up for the other guys.
Skylar Mays in the game for LSU. Now baseline with Epps.
Nice pass.
Aaron Epps with the throwdown.
Beautiful delivery on the drive, though, to set that up.
Epps has had his best year as a Tiger at 16 in the last home game here at the Maravich Center. As LSU, they won their last 6 games here at home. The problem was they just couldn't get it done on the road down the stretch.
You got to look at that play again. Edwards with the beautiful wraparound pass. Well, the defense get an easy one for his teammate. Foul, by the way, on Waters, his first.
Waters wearing the mask once again. He had to wear that last week at the SEC tournament. Suffered a broken nose at the beginning of last week. Didn't seem to bother him all that much as he went for 28 in the loss to Mississippi State. Here's Johnathan Stove, usually coming off the bench as the 6th man, lost it on the way up. So 2 guys for the Cajuns. Born and raised here in Baton Rouge, Johnathan Stove and Frank Bartley.
Well, they were a tad excited about getting play back here, and you know, sometimes you'll see that, and then maybe the quote-unquote bigger program isn't that jazzed up. But this LSU team is pretty fired up to be playing here in the postseason as well. Nice
move by Reith. Second time he has gone to the well.
Playing inside out here tonight, this LSU team.
Had some great games this year. Here's Stroman.
Nice pass.
Washington, the workhorse for the Cajuns, off. And it's chased down by Stroman again.
Maybe one of those second chance point opportunities here for this team.
This is Justin Miller. I'd like to bring him in off the bench to do some dirty work. Can't get it to fall this time. Edwards takes the shot off the front of the rim.
They just forgot all about the guy with the ball. Edwards was left pretty much all alone, and now second chance points for the Tigers. Not to be.
Have a foul on the floor. It's going to be on Washington. And we'll step aside for our first break. 10-6 out of the gates. Cajuns and Tigers on ESPN3. Back here in Baton Rouge, 2 fantastic guards matching up here tonight. Frank Bartley of the Raging Cajuns and Tremont Waters for LSU.
Bartley can certainly fill it up. He's taken 214 threes on the year and made 82 coming into the game. He's already got 2 more tonight. He shoots at about 38%. Terrific, prolific scorer. Now, Waters can score as well, but he does some of the other things also. He's got 183 assists, leads the team in steals. Also pretty good, pretty fair three-point shooter in his own right at 36%. He's made 71. So these guys are offensive, absolutely driving the bus for their teams.
Yeah, Waters broke Ben Simmons' freshman assist mark. Called for a carry that time.
Yeah, he's 5th all-time in the LSU record book for most single-season assists, and as you said, the all-time record for freshmen. And he's also, as we said, a great scorer. He's had 10 games of 20 or more points, so he can fill it up.
He's the first freshman since John Wall to average 15 points and 5 assists per game for a season. That's pretty impressive. Showman on Waters now. And it'll be a three-point try. This one comes off the rim by Miller. Cajuns able to get it back. On the deck. And a jump ball to the Tigers.
Good hustle. You can see these teams are getting after it early. I think, in fact, getting after it to the point where it's knocking some of their offensive rhythm a little sideways. We've already had 7 turnovers in the game. LSU's had 4, and the Cajuns have had 3. So I think that's an indication. Sometimes you're trying a little bit too hard.
So coming in for Cajuns is Jarikas Davis, sophomore forward out of Jackson, Mississippi. Let me ask you this, Bob. Who do you think there's more pressure on tonight, LSU or the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana? Because remember, Louisiana's not won this game since 1944. That's a long time.
Well, they haven't played that much. The easy answer is the quote-unquote bigger program always has more pressure on it, because if they win, people say, oh, well, you're in the SEC, you're supposed to win, but if you lose, nice drive all the way to the 10 for the easy lay-in by Mays. But there's a different kind of pressure. I mean, Louisiana's come off a record-setting season. They want to play these guys. They want to show, hey, we can eat at the big dinner. We can eat at the table with the big guys. We don't have to eat the children's table. Another good play by Mays.
8-0 run for the Tigers, coast to coast. Skylar Mays, and now the PMAC is rocking.
Yeah, this is a crowd that is animated for both teams. A lot of red shirts in here as well, but the home crowd pretty fired up. Good run here for the Tigers.
Traveling.
And the turnovers are just killing them right now. LSU already has 8 points off turnovers, and here's 2 of them right here. You love that one because it's an uncontested run out at the other end. As we said, Louisiana's had a good number on the year, plus a little bit more than +4 a game off turnovers, but now they're getting outscored 8-4.
Skylar Mays sparking this Tiger crowd. Oh, another good assist try there by Waters, but it was off the fingertips of Wade Sims.
That's his 3rd turnover, Liz. That's what I mean. It's a good decision. It's a good play. Just maybe a little too quick, trying a little too hard, and out the door it goes.
Asian Cajuns started out the game red hot, but they have cooled off. There's Malik Marquetti, the USC transfer. He kicked it out to Davis, so nothing working right now for Louisiana.
That is, as I said, not to be a broken record, but when you're a little too amped up, you don't play with a normal flow. Your kind of thoughts are all over the place. Should I drive it? Should I shoot it? You get caught between, and then it's an indecisive turnover. In that case, a travel. 1-4 set here, and put it in the capable hands of Waters. Now they give him a high screen. Oh, that's twice now for carrying the ball.
So clearly, Jamal Waters going to have to adjust just a little bit here. How difficult is that when you run across some officials that are calling things that weren't called during the regular season?
In all fairness, I didn't have LSU as any of my ESPN assignments this year, so it's the first time I'm seeing it in person. So I don't know if that was a problem or not, but you're right. Tonight, Doug Shows is definitely going to call it. There's no doubt.
Long shot, top of the key. This one comes off. Tigers get another chance with Edwards. They're getting good looks.
Good block, yeah. Good call.
And a blocking call that time as Davis tried to step in the lane.
That is not. We talked before the game with Bob Marlin. He said, look, their offensive proficiency is well documented. Their shooting percentage has been good. He said, we've got to get ball movement, player movement to get good shots. And you can see when they don't, they're struggling now. They're just 4 of 10.
Checked very tightly by Bartley. Here's the runner now from the freshman. Yeah, his game is so multi-dimensional. He can hurt you so many different ways.
Yeah, they've got to do. Teams try and prevent him from getting the ball, and he's got to show that versatility, playing off the ball a little bit. A bump here by Mays picks up the foul. That's what Will Wade told us. I said, look, no secret. You know they're going to try and keep the ball out of Waters' hands. He said, we've seen that all year. We move him off the ball. He has a whole bunch of different ways he can be effective. You saw right there with that little floater.
Gant comes back in the game for Davis. Now keep an eye on Johnathan Gant tonight. He has an upper respiratory issue, been coughing all day long. He was doing it also last week in New Orleans, but so far, so good here in the first round of the NIT. Washington now on the block as Sims tries to defend. Bartley, 2 of 2 from 3, misses for the first time.
That was not a good shot. A challenge 3. Mays was right in his grill.
Mays with some daylight. Takes it to the rim.
Too slow to help on the weak side. Mays made him pay. Got a good solid screen. Somebody's got to step up on the weak side and help.
The sophomore out of Baton Rouge, Skylar Mays. Second dunk to electrify this crowd. Runner off the glass for Cedric Russell breaks the drought.
Well, they needed that one because you're right. They were in struggle city there. The turnovers are just alarming. 13 total turnovers. We haven't played 9 minutes yet.
LSU season ending last Thursday in St. Louis. 3-point loss to Mississippi State. They had beaten the Tigers the previous week. And Louisiana losing to UT Arlington, a team that they had blown out in the final week of the regular season. As right now, the Tigers getting all the looks they want.
Well, Edwards, again, they're running that little side ball screen, and it's a great screen, and nobody's coming to help.
Here's a 3 for Russell. They know where that line is. Bob, and they are teeing it up here.
Almost 9 threes a game, the Cajuns average. And they are showing they're not afraid to tee it up at the longer line.
Aaron Epps going to town. And how about the look from Waters?
That's for a freshman. He has such a good feel when to go, when not to, when to take his own shot. That was a delicate little touch pass there, beautifully thrown, and authoritative finish by Epps.
Early fireworks here in Baton Rouge. Final shot comes off for the Cajuns, and a heave for Edwards comes up short. What an exciting opening period from the Maravich Center. LSU shooting 67% and overcoming a shaky start. 18-15 here on ESPN3. First round of the NIT from Baton Rouge. Here in Baton Rouge, where the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana, their best regular season in school history, 27 wins and a pretty impressive resume coming into tonight. But Coach Bob Marlin told me, Coach Valvano, earlier today that making a run in this tournament and beating LSU would be just as important as getting to the NCAA tournament.
He said the same thing to me too. He said obviously they were very disappointed after their great regular season. He said, but when we found out where we were going, and with so many local kids on the roster and a in-state game that they'd love to be playing on a regular basis, he said, yeah, they found their mojo again. So they were pretty fired up to come here. But right now, it's not enough for them to take the lead. LSU has fought them off with a 3-point lead after the first quarter.
Raging Cajuns actually had a shot to be an at-large bid if it weren't for a final regular season game loss against Little Rock, as that ball tipped up and in by Johnathan Gant, his first bucket of the night.
He is a 13.8-point-a-game scorer and about 6 rebounds a game. He was very good, very important for the rebounding because that is so important statistically for this team. We talked about that earlier. George,
an offensive foul called on Waters. Yeah, back to Gant. Coach, Louisiana really missed him last week in New Orleans. Through 2 games, he only scored 3 combined points.
Well, they were shorthanded. There's no getting around it. He and Stove. But I'll tell you, that last play is going to be significant because the best way to keep the ball out of Waters' hands is to get him off the court. That's his second foul here with still 9:24 to play in the first half. So to the bench he goes.
Now let's see if the Raging Cajuns can take advantage. There's Bartley. Started out, hit his first 2 shots.
His first 2 were good looks. His last 2 were challenged, off-balance shots. That wasn't a particularly good one either. And flat. Mays has gotten it going a bit.
Here's a long one. This one a little bit flat as well. Both teams right now 7 turnovers apiece.
Whoa! What a block!
Here come the Tigers. Onwuasor tried to force it, and a blocking call. Should have free throws.
That was a spectacular sequence from which nothing came. Watch this beautiful dish, and then look at the recovery by Sims to come over and get the block on it. Terrific pass to start it by Stroman, but then nothing to show for it thanks to the great play from Sims.
Onwuasor now to the line for LSU. Grad student. Started his college career at Texas Tech, then went over to Southern Utah, where he averaged 23 points per game. They are really going to miss him here in Baton Rouge.
Bob Marlin has a chance now with the foul trouble on Waters to rest his big gun, and Frank Bartley will head to the bench for a breather. First free throws of the night are good.
Johnathan Stove, also a senior for the Cajuns, with it right now. He is so tough going to the rim, but that time a little bit too strong, and waiting for him in position was Duop Reef.
Yeah, that contrast that with what went on at the other end for Louisiana off the screen. They were slow to get there and turned it into two easy ones for LSU. That play, Reef comes from the weak side, establishes position outside that little restraining arc, and picks up the offensive foul.
8:15 left to go in the first half. First round of the NIT, and the Tigers with a 3-point lead. .8:15 left to go first half, 20-17. Raging Cajuns came out firing, but Bob, they've looked a little bit sluggish over the past 10 minutes or so.
Not sluggish, just out of sync. They're playing hard. They're playing, as I said, maybe too hard. It's kind of herky-jerky. They need to find a rhythm.
Meanwhile, Skylar Mays going to the hole early and often, couldn't hit that time though. Nice alley-oop, but the throwdown attempt doesn't go down. Open in the corner is Marchetti.
Well, they had two great looks there and came up completely empty.
Onwuasor hesitated a little bit. Both teams misfiring at the moment. Reef back up.
But Reed's been the best player on the floor so far. He's doing a little bit of everything. Now some second chance points. He's got 6.
Maybe one of the most improved players in the entire SEC this year. Russell's runner in the lane is good.
So he's made 2 of those, one off the backboard, and that one a nice little feather shot. He's got 7. But Will Wade told us we're going to try and go inside. We're going to try and pound them, and they have gotten an enormous advantage in paint points, 18-8 so far early.
You think, Bob, maybe the size underneath is up and in. Sims gets the bucket, but perhaps the length of Reith and Sims and Onwuasor is thrown off the Cajuns just a little bit.
Well, you take what you think you have an advantage at, and that's what you exploit. That's exactly what Will Wade's doing. Boy, you are just watching them wear them out inside. That's the 20th point in the paint, and a chance to make it a 3-point play. Fouls on Gant, his first.
LSU, a team picked to finish last in the SEC, finished 4 slots above that. Overall, very successful season and a good first campaign for Will Wade.
One of the things they've got to do is play more without the ball, Louisiana. When Stroman drives, that's fine, but now you got to move and give him a passing lane. You can't just look at him.
Here he is going to that left hand and scoring.
Oh, he can take it all the way himself, his first 2 points. We thought this was going to be a good one, and it looks like it's shaping up that way.
Marcus Stroman, the South Carolina transfer, came from the SEC and now trying to beat an SEC team in his junior season. How about Skylar Mays getting what he wants?
Well, I mean, somebody's got to come and help. That's 8 points they've given up off drives where guys have come a pretty good distance from the wing or the top, and nobody's been able to step over and help.
Now, Mays looks really good here in the first half. Very relaxed. Stroman, again, kicks it out. Gant will try for 3.
Oh boy, they are really getting man-sized rebounds now. Sims in traffic. Good rebound there.
Keep in mind, Tremont Waters on the bench right now for LSU. And a foul away from the bucket this time. 26-21, a 5-point game. Raging Cajuns and Tigers in the NIT. Pretty good first half so far for LSU, and they're led by Skylar Mays.
Well, LSU shooting 63% from the floor. Here's a couple of reasons why. The layup where nobody comes to help, the dunk, you see the finish right there. They're slow to come and help, and he says, if you're not going to get there and cut me off, I will be happy to take this right to the tin and finish. Mays is doing just that. He is off to a 4 for 5 start for 8 points.
Mays did not start the game for the Tigers, but was the first substitute in, and he has certainly made an impact. Guarded tightly now by Malik Marquetti.
First time somebody's really given him any trouble out there.
Got to launch it, shot clock winding down, and that'll be the first shot clock violation we have seen so far.
Well, give Marquetti credit for that. He's the first guy to take Mays on one-on-one and disrupt him. He poked it away, made him have to regather, didn't get beat off the dribble, and forced a desperation shot.
The Cajuns have not been to the free throw line yet in this game and have looked a little bit shaky offensively as the pass by Stroman goes out of bounds.
Out of a timeout, they just try and run a straight back door, and Stroman's such a great passer, but that was a very small window. After getting an air ball, they needed to make sure they got themselves a good look. They didn't get any look at all.
Here's Mays again off the dribble. Great pass. And the follow-up right back up by Aaron Epps.
But LSU is just wearing them out with numbers. They finally got one guy to come over and help, so LSU had 2 guys in there. You got the second chance points. Epps has 6 now. See, not much movement here.
Russell.
No movement at all, and that's why they're shooting under 39% right now.
Sampson hasn't had many opportunities so far, and we got a blocking foul on the Cajuns. As trying to stay with him was Stroman.
Got to really be impressed with the way LSU has started this game. They're doing everything. Shooting 62%. They have held the Cajuns to just 3 of 11 behind the three-point line. Haven't fouled them yet. They're out rebounding them 13-10, dominating in the paint 24-10. I mean, frankly, it could be worse than 7.
You know, I was really impressed at the Tigers walkthrough earlier today. You know, when you tend to walk through, Bob, and you just can sense that teams are so well prepared. The way Coach Wade, the scouting report put forward the Tigers, very organized, and you can see why he was so successful at VCU. Went to 2 NCAAs there before coming here to Baton Rouge.
He's made a U-turn with the culture here in 1 year, and the people appreciate it. He got a huge ovation. He probably got the biggest hand, bigger than the players in the introductions. Pretty excited about what's going on here.
Jump shot from the free throw line. It's the first time Bryce Washington, the senior, has scored. They really need him to get involved.
Well, that was a simple pass and well run by Stroman. Dribbled, reverse pivoted, found the open man, easy shot.
Mays doing all sorts of work. How about that block, though?
This is where they got to make sure they get a good one.
Stroman.
That's not really a good one.
And we're going to get an offensive foul on Miller.
They're trying to play aggressively, which is great. You come in the other guy's building, you want to say, hey, we're coming after you. But they're playing aggressively to the point. I mean, Drew, how many forced shots have we seen them take? There's a lot of challenge threes, some off-balance runners early in the shot clock. I know they want to play fast, but you got to get good shots.
Yeah, 6th foul on the Raging Cajuns. LSU has only committed 1 here tonight. So Wade Sims at the line. We're talking about LSU, though, Bob, and the culture. They really have not had sustained success since the old days.
Well, that's been, I think, the big bugaboo here is the thought that some years they've been really good, and you think, okay, well, this is really going to cement them as a perennial contender in the SEC, and then, as you said, they kind of vanished from sight. You look up at the rafters here, there's plenty of banners, but this is a new era, and people are excited that Will Wade is going to build something that'll be year in and year out. a good successful team. It's off to a good start.
Here's Bartley, been a little bit quiet. His shot coming off. Miller battling on the inside, and he had position that time. And the foul is going to be called on Aaron Epps.
A little bit of a Bronx cheer from the Cajun fans who noticed the disparity in fouls. But you know why the disparity in fouls? They're fouling more. That was earned that time. A little bit of good movement and good position on the weak side on the rebound.
Oh, bad pass that time.
That is turnover number 10 now. And how many of them, Drew, have been just what they call in tennis unforced errors, right? I mean, they weren't really pressured into that turnover. They just threw it away.
Tremont Waters still on the bench for LSU. Are you surprised he has spent so much time?
Why? They're doing great without him. Let him stay there and don't risk getting that third foul.
Good point. Nice take by Sampson along the baseline.
I mean, Mays is doing a terrific job, and they've extended the lead to 10, their biggest lead of the game.
Washington off the screen. Bartley stopped and left it for Marchetti. Now Justin Miller shoots the little short jumper from 10 feet, and it's off the front of the rim.
Boy, they are really, their spacing was terrible on that. As 8 guys just all packed into a little area as well as they shoot it. You got to spread out and get some space.
Long three by Sampson. I think this is where Raging Cajuns are at their best. In transition as Bartley nails it.
You're exactly right. But what did they get, though? Naturally, they get good spacing there. Ball taken down the middle. Bartley runs to the corner, and behind the three-point line, he has his third three of the game.
7-point lead for LSU. Coming up on 2 minutes to play. Here in the first half, Drew Felios, Bob Valvano, great to have you with us.
A little zone here.
Nice pick and roll, and going hard to the rim was Epps. So 2:24 left to play in the half. LSU and the Raging Cajuns, 7-point lead. Been a long road for Frank Bartley to come back home. Went to BYU for a couple years, wound up at Louisiana with the Raging Cajuns, and the senior has been money this year from 3.
Well, you see the great range. He worked very hard on that shot. As we said, he came here more as a slasher. But the 3 good looks he's made. The 3 he missed were kind of forced. He was guarded. One was a little bit rushed. You got to just everybody collectively on this Louisiana team has got to do more without the ball to get themselves some space to get good shots. You pointed out the length of this team defensively for LSU can be taking them out of their rhythm a little bit, so you got to work harder without the ball to give yourself more time. The other thing that's working against them is as Epps makes both free throws, is they haven't gotten any stops to run their break. They've been good in the break, but they're giving up 58% shooting. They haven't had a chance to get a lot of breaks. Here's another one they got to just run half court plus the 2 free throws.
Without question. Stroman kicks it out to Washington from the baseline. Washington short that time, but Stroman tracks it down. Stroman in the lane, high up over 2 defenders.
Second chance points. They haven't had a lot of those either, but they did get their 7th there. That is one area they have an edge in. 7 second chance points to 4. Back to the zone here for the Cajuns.
LSU with a 15-13 rebounding edge. That's an area where Raging Cajuns thought they could handle here tonight. Not happening so far. There's Reef with a second try and the 3-point try.
Wow!
Hello, Brandon Sampson.
You could tell when he came from the wing, he was timing his steps before the ball hit the rim. That's great anticipation, and that got a rise out of the crowd.
There's been a highlight reel of dunks here in this first half for the Tigers. Davis.
They are all sorts of out of rhythm. And give LSU credit. They have disrupted this team, and they have shot a terrific percentage.
LSU giving the home fans a show here in the first half. Reef wants it downstairs.
Oh, that might have been travel there.
Steps out. The big man's got some touch.
What else do you want out of him today?
He likes that new three-point line.
He does. Reith with 9, and the crowd going wild here at the Pete. No movement. Watching one guy dribble.
Lots of dribbling for Stroman. Shot with 10 on the shot clock comes off, and Reith with another board.
They are just absolutely dominating them right now. Look at the good spacing, how quickly they get away from each other. 5 on the shot clock and a half.
Final seconds of the first half. This one forced, and that'll do it. But LSU with a strong finish to the first half, and Bob, they really controlled play throughout the first 20.
I mean, you don't have to look very deep into the stats. You give up 36% shooting, you make 55% shooting, you're going to have yourself a good lead at the half, and that's what they do, leading it by 12.
And the Raging Cajuns, no points in the past 2 minutes. The Tigers put on a show here in the first round of the NIT. 4:28 here at the half. Halftime festivities coming up right after this from Baton Rouge. Point lead for LSU, 40-28 over their neighbors to the west, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Hope you're enjoying it tonight on ESPN3. Alongside Bob Valvano, I'm Drew Felios, and a little bit shocked coming in. We thought the Raging Cajuns probably could be a team that easily could be favored tonight with all the talent and the depth, but LSU has taken it right to them.
Well, all you got to do is look up at the scoreboard. This is a team that averages over 83 points a game. They have 28 at the half. I mean, it's not like LSU's keeping them a few points under their average. If it stays at this pace, LSU's going to keep them almost 30 points under their average. Credit LSU's defense, but their offense has been equally effective, and that's why they have a seemingly controlling 12-point lead here at the half.
All right, Louisiana with the second best record in this entire NIT tournament. Take a look at some of the news and notes so far. Notre Dame not challenged by Hampton, and USC outlasts UNC Asheville. St. Mary's taking care of business as well. And Baylor takes down Wagner, the semifinals and the championship at the end of March, the 27th and the 29th from Madison Square Garden. How about St. Mary's? Only 5 losses on the year playing this year in the NIT, and Notre Dame impressive last night.
Listen, I've said this for years, and I don't want to sound like a shill because, obviously it's our product, but there's 100 teams that play in the NCAA and the NIT combined. 168 plus 32 out of 351. Not to take a shot at our football brethren, but 70 of those teams go to bowl games out of 112? That's way over half. And yet, you win a bowl game, everybody, hey, you get a trophy and you celebrate. And here, some people roll their eyes at the NIT. Take a look at this field. I had a bunch of those teams during the year. There's some good teams in there. You mentioned St. Mary's. Notre Dame with Bonzie Colson back is a terrific team. USC, Metu sat out, and they weren't sure what they were going to do there. And, people weren't sure how well they'd play without him. They hung on and won. But there's a lot of talent and a lot of good teams, and I think this bracket is going to shape up to be really interesting.
And in case you're just joining us, we're playing under different experimental NIT rules here tonight. 4 10-minute quarters. Got free throw changes. Also, the shot clock resets to 20 seconds after an offensive rebound. I really like that rule, Bob.
Yeah, it makes the game faster. It psychologically, it makes the game faster. The women have played that for a while, and if you watch the women's game, you're struck with the fact that, my goodness, they go, but that's because they're used to that, and I think the men that'll have the same effect, which I think people like. The deeper three-point shot, I got to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure I like it. Let me tell you why. Because the purpose of the three-point shot is not to be a gimmick, hey, like skating degree of difficulty. The idea was to give teams reason to play in the perimeter and open up the middle, because the game had gotten to the point with the bigger, stronger, faster players. Everybody was in there on top of each other. So how do you open it up? Well, you go to the wider lane and make the three-point shot one that guys can shoot as part of their offense. That extra 20 inches makes a difference. Not quite as easy a shot.
Well, so far, after 20 minutes of play, the LSU Tigers, the advantage over the Cajuns from Louisiana, 40-28. We're back in a moment. 12-point lead for LSU over Louisiana, 40-28 here in the first round of the NIT. Drew Felios alongside Bob Valvano. Whenever things have worked for the Raging Cajuns, Frank Bartley is usually the guy knocking down threes.
Well, he got off to a great start. He got great looks early. He made a couple of threes, and it looked like they were going to really be on fire. And he's worked very hard at this. Bob Marlin said he was a guy that was not a great shooter when he got here necessarily, but you see a confidence in his shot there. But he took a couple of forced ones. They closed out on him well. And at the other end, the big fella having himself a game. They said they were going to play inside to out. They went inside to him early, and he delivered. Beautiful back to the basket move. That's a tough little angle shot right there. Reith knocked it in. And then stepping away and saying, I can get three as well as anybody. Good half for the big fella. Really carried the offensive load early and certainly didn't let up at all when Waters went out with foul trouble. He didn't miss a beat. He kept playing his right at the forefront. He is the leading scorer for the Tigers with 9 points.
Yeah, look at the halftime numbers. LSU with the edge on the boards, 19-15. That's an area that Coach Marlin thought that his team could control. Bench points as well. Points off turnovers and points in the paint. Those are huge.
Well, points in the paint is the whole ballgame. They have a 16-point edge there, and they're up 12. The Raging Cajuns have gotten more points. You're right. The points off turnover, I stand corrected, 12-4 for LSU. So they have an 8-point edge there, a 16-point edge in points in the paint. That's 24 points for the Cajuns to make up. That's a little too much. They're going to have to do better in both those categories in the second half.
Yeah, Raging Cajuns certainly need more from Bryce Washington, the senior forward. We've got more from Baton Rouge in a moment. Catch every moment of the 2018 NCAA Women's Championship on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. And a busy night tonight in the NIT. This is one of many matchups. Marquette over Harvard right now at the half, 27-21. Any other teams there catch your eye, Bob?
Well, the Nebraska-Mississippi State game is fascinating to me. Tim Miles at Nebraska is a guy I did his games earlier in his career before he went to Nebraska. I think he does a terrific job. Let's not kid ourselves. That Nebraska program has not had a huge basketball heritage, and they were very close this year in a lot of games to being even better than that. They had a successful year, so I'm going to be interested to see that. And then, of course, the second game today is going to be the second game after our game will be the one that will await the winner of this. So after our game, Utah and UC Davis go at it, and whoever wins that gets our winner. By the way, Drew, speaking of near misses, how about this LSU team? You talk about some wild comebacks. The SEC tournament, they were down 19, cut it to 1. South Carolina, they were down 15, tied the game. Florida, they were down 12, took the lead. Vandy, they were down 16, took the lead. Alabama down 15, cut it to 4, and they didn't win any of those games. And then 2 games where they had big leads, they lost those as well. So those are 7 games that arguably they easily could have won 3 or 4. And that's the difference between being a 21-win team and a 17-win.
Oh, nice pass to start the second half, and Dwapari picks up right where he left off. You mentioned those comebacks. You know, when you look at a season and the difference between an NCAA and NIT berth, it's just a few plays, isn't it?
It often can be, and they didn't get their share of breaks, to say the least.
Dump it down inside, and there's Gaten getting going for Louisiana, the bucket and the foul.
Nice delivery again. Stroman's such a creative passer, as we said. Guy who has had 206 assists coming into the game tonight. It's astounding. And a good finish inside by Gant. But, you know, offensively, they're going to have to get more movement, the Cajuns, and defensively, they're going to have to clamp down a little bit. They can't keep giving up paint points. 30 points in the paint already after that basket by Reith.
Jakina Gant is the guy that Bob Marlin calls an SEC athlete. Missouri transfer has been huge this year for Louisiana.
Little extended defense here. Sampson, that's great help that time.
Tigers were able to get it back. We got hands this time on Darrell Edwards. So that'll be on Marcus Stroman, his second foul. That free throw attempt by the Cajuns was the only free throw they have shot in this game. And sometimes when you're not getting to the line, you're probably not winning the game.
Nice pass. Look at them make them chase. That's what I mean by ball movement, play movement. They turned it over.
Here comes Bartley. Good pass ahead, and he'll finish at the other end.
Goaltender, but it went in anyway. But you know what? That was a mistake by the big guy. And give Louisiana credit. They got good rotation that time and got the steal. But did you see how they were making them chase? That's something that the Cajuns are going to have to do to get that offense in gear.
That pass by Washington up ahead was on a dime.
No trouble here.
Quick timeout for LSU. And a little bit of chippiness as both teams went to their huddles. I think it's finally setting in just a little bit what's at stake.
Well, the officials trying to restore order here. But you know what Louisiana realizes? This little zone trap they've thrown in here has knocked LSU out of their rhythm a little bit. It's first time all night you feel like LSU is having to react to Louisiana's defense rather than being on their heels. And they got a little excited about it, maybe a little too excited, a little chippy before they went to the huddles.
Well, Coach Marlin told his team, and he's told the media, says, we feel like we are state champions. They have not lost to a team in the state of Louisiana in 18 games, but one of those teams has not been LSU.
And there's a technical foul, double technical, Doug Shows. He warned, it was like a parent. Stop, I'm telling you to stop, and they wouldn't stop, and now they both got teed up.
Goal against number 5 of LSU, Daryl Edwards, and number 30 of ULL, Johnathan.
So Johnathan Stove and Daryl Edwards.
Problem with Stove is I believe is that his third foul?
LSU.
Yes, it will be.
And Edwards just his first, so the Tigers came out the better on that exchange.
Waters spent a lot of the first half on the bench for LSU. He's been a little bit quiet here today. Gets in the lane this time and scores.
You know, that's what's impressive about him, though. He doesn't get impatient for a freshman. Think, gee, I haven't scored. I haven't stuffed the stat sheet. Let me do something. He just plays the game. That was a good finish on that play.
Bartley now going to the rim off the glass.
See, that's what he did when he got here. He was a slasher. Took it right at the big fella and finished with the left hand.
He is so strong, isn't he?
Yes, that was an impressive take. Now they got to get some stops, though. Down 9 still.
Waters coming off the screen again.
That's a charge or travel. Yes, sir. Good defense. Creative pass by Waters, went down the lane, threw it back over his head. But this is a different defensive team so far in the second half for the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah, the first half, Cajuns really struggled to get stops, but slowly starting to make it happen here in the third quarter. Bartley open for 3.
Oh, boy, did they dodge a bullet there.
And it will be Cajuns basketball. The crowd's not going to like that one.
That was as open a shot as Bartley got all night. He's already made 3 threes and clanked that one off the back rim. First time they've really lost him in a while. Here's the rebound going to the sideline, and that's not going to calm anybody down. The crowd thinks Johnathan Stove got it last.
And keep in mind, we've got probably the greatest big screens in all of college sports here in the Maravich Center.
That's a good point. They should use that for the video replays. Can't go to the video this early.
Stroman now to Washington. 2-man game with 10 seconds to shoot. Stroman a little flat-footed on the 3. Right back up. Cajuns starting to really crash the glass. Bartley with a third chance for Louisiana, and they're back in it.
Well, now they're doing what they do. They're getting second chance and even third chance points. Getting some ball movement. Bartley's got 3 second-half field goals, 7 points after the intermission here. Trying to go inside.
Reith has been outstanding here tonight, and he still is.
That is just a low post clinic right there. Back him in, get the angle you want, turn over your left shoulder, use the board, accept congratulations.
You make moves like that, the next level is going to be calling. Here's Bartley. Another one.
Feeling it. Absolutely feeling it right now. Almost single-handedly keeping him in it here with 10 second-half points.
The recognition, too, Bob. They know where that three-point line is. They are not struggling with that whatsoever. Waters, easy drive. Can't finish, though. Cajuns running again. Johnathan Stove in the lane.
And the momentum swings, and now it is all going the Cajuns' way.
46-43. 12-point lead at the half's been cut to only 3 now.
Nice pass.
Sampson.
Look out.
Oh!
Sampson with 2 authoritative dunks, 1 on a follow and 1 from the hallway there.
Now the Tigers crowd comes alive. Bartley can't, right back up.
This is a completely different Cajun. This is the Cajun team we thought we would get in the first half. Going to the glass, much more active.
Now from the corner, Sampson brings it up again.
Well, I'll tell you though, this has been incredible. Not only team momentum, Drew, but personal momentum. A guy makes 1 shot, he's liable to go make 3 or 4. We saw it with Mays. Now we're seeing it with Sampson. We saw it on the other end with Bartley.
"13 bench points for LSU, 7 for the Raging Cajuns."
Sampson a 35% three-point shooter. Decent percentage. Looked good on that one.
If you're just joining us, Raging Cajuns had the fast start, then LSU dominated for most of the first half. But Louisiana making a run here in the third quarter, and both of these crowds are certainly making their presence felt. That's a travel as Johnathan Stove had nowhere to go.
That is the operative word, nowhere to go. When their spacing gets all discombobulated, that's when the turnovers kick in, and that is now turnover number 11 for the Cajuns. They had a lot early. They settled down a bit, but that one there was no room to work.
First round of the NIT, and the first game between these two schools in 9 years. Sampson tied up that time by Washington, and he'll have free throws. And how about Brandon Sampson?
He's been spectacular. Here's an example. He sees an opening, and flush it is. Sampson off to a good second half start. His team leads it by 6.
LSU head coach Will Wade in his first season guiding the Tigers to their first postseason in 3 years. Had that poor 10-21 season a year ago, and this was certainly a season to bounce back. And this time they are happy to be in the NIT. Remember a couple years ago, Bob, with Ben Simmons, the all-everything freshman, they turned down an invitation here.
That team did not exactly have the best chemistry, to put it mildly. This group is together. They want to be here. They're playing hard. They're playing together. And this young man at the line has been spectacular at times. 2 great dunks. He's got 11 points in the game. Looking for more as he drew the foul right before the break.
How about the dunks that we have seen in this game? We have seen some electrifying plays through the first 3 quarters.
They're both athletic teams, but the LSU team using their length and athleticism to great advantage in the paint, where they have a 34-22 edge in points in the paint.
Drew Felios, Bob Valvano, great to have you with us tonight from Baton Rouge. First round of the NIT, and these two schools, their first meeting in 9 years. It's not every day where the Raging Cajuns and Tigers get together. Frank Bartley, the leading scorer from Louisiana. He has his pocket picked by Waters, stepping through and fouled on his way to the bucket. They're going to say it's on the floor.
That is such a heady play for the freshman. He could see what Bartley was trying to set up on the ball screen, and he just came from the blind side and picked his pocket and went right to the basket and drew the foul. No, non-shooting foul, but a great defensive play by the freshman.
Here's Waters again. Good pass. And finishing is Wade Sims. He's just got court awareness. So beyond a freshman.
He really does. They say the great players the game slows down for. He's got great quickness, but how composed he was on that drive. We got a whistle. Going to be no shot.
And they're going to get Skylar Mays, the sophomore, with a foul underneath.
You know, I'll tell you, I had to play with a mask once in my life. You don't know how difficult that is. You can't breathe, you can't see, and he was so good wearing it in the SEC tournament. I can't believe the numbers he put up wearing that thing.
Here's Gant, challenge that time, as Sims grabs it for LSU. Oh, how about that pass? A little bit too hot to handle, though, as Waters will have to track it back down. It'll be a back court.
He had 28 points and 6 assists with the broken nose mask. That's pretty impressive. By the way, how about this for a number that's telling? 11 times this year, LSU has shot more than 50% from the field, which is a pretty good recipe for success. 9 of those have been home games, and they're shooting at a 59.5% clip today.
Coming into this game, they did set a single-season record for three-pointers, 256 threes on the year. Here's Stroman, another good pass, and putting it in is Gant off the glass.
Good finish because he was challenged inside. Like you mentioned, that great overall length and athleticism by this LSU team. But Gant, who's come to life in the second half, he has 7 second-half points.
Jakina Gant's the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. Cross-court pass now, Sampson. Spotting up, couldn't hit. Epps can't grab the rebound, and now Stroman for the Raging Cajuns. Bartley, been hot. Washington, the offensive board. Stroman trying to step in, and we got a foul. It's going to be on Waters.
Well, now he's back in some foul difficulty again. That's his third, and Will Wade's got a decision to make. He's got 3:23 in the third quarter. You let him play through him? I'm going to guess he's not, but let's see.
Yeah, Randy Onwusor's going to get off the bench for the Tigers.
It's a skill that you learn, really, with experience playing with fouls. He's too important to them as a freshman. If he gets his 4th, that's a long time they'll be without him.
Substitutions now. Reith comes back in. So does Onwusor. The guy at the line, Marcus Stroman, the 3 assists he has tonight. He has tied Alfred Payton for the most single-season assists on campus in Lafayette. 4th all-time.
Stroman, pretty good free throw shooter at 75%. Kind of got lucky on the first one. It bounced every which way and then missed the second. For 2, but he cuts it to a 6-point lead.
Those assists for a single season. Tied now with Payton, who is doing his thing right now in the NBA.
Here's big fella again.
He's been so good with his back to the bucket tonight, Bob, and he continues. Can't hit this time. That one comes off the rim.
Well defended, actually. They didn't let him get a good angle on the turn.
Stove, hard to the rim, scores and a foul.
This is going to sound like I'm probably making too much of a little thing, but I think this was the whole key to the play. When Stroman drove to the lane, he backed up. That's all he did. Stove backed up and watch, he gives him a passing lane here. Well, now you're seeing the finish. There's the drive and the foul. But he stepped back so that there was a passing lane. Earlier, they were just standing and watching Stroman, not giving him any place to pass it. He'll get it to you if you get yourself free.
Johnathan Stove coming back home to Baton Rouge tonight. The former Christian Life Academy star with a 3-point play. And again, the Raging Cajuns within 3.
I'll go back inside again anyway. Make them guard the big guy.
Asamoah right now settling for the outside jumper. Creates a little space. Had a good look at it, but just couldn't put it in.
Now they got
Mays.
numbers because Mays is on the floor. He's behind the play. Somebody's open. There's the guy.
Extra pass in the corner. Washington another board.
Well, they got a bounce in their step now, though.
Raging Cajuns getting more second looks.
They're doing what they do.
Yep. Starting to play better defense as well. Justin Miller hasn't scored tonight. Gets Reith off his feet. A little bit too high, and that's going to be a shot clock violation.
That was good defense. That was just digging in. LSU on the ropes a bit. Their first half lead. of 12 points, almost completely gone. They get a big stop.
Here's Mays trying to go quick to the goal.
Nope, travel. Well, we thought it was going to be a close game, but for a while it looked like the Tigers had seized control, but you don't go 27-6 without having some resiliency.
6-0 run right now for the Raging Cajuns. LSU hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes. Johnathan Stove, contact.
That's the defense. Great defense by Reith. What else can he do? The big fella just sticking his leg out there and cutting the driving lane off.
On Wasor, rejected. How about Reith? He's done everything tonight. Why not take it to the goal?
He has been enormously important, and more so with Waters being out of the game. He has really had a presence, the great defensive play and the great finish at the other end.
Originally from the Sudan, moved to Australia to take his basketball game to the next level, and here he is in Baton Rouge. Had a brilliant senior season. Washington going strong. Nice jump hook, but Reith, a good job defending.
It's rebound number 7 for him as well.
Reith.
Really?
Can he bring this one
up? Why not?
The big man is feasting tonight.
Oh, the big fella has just seized all the momentum back by himself.
And more words underneath the goal.
And that is a good-looking stroke. Look at this. The release, the rotation, and the confidence.
18 points tonight for Dwap Reith, the senior from Perth, Australia.
Well, not to look like we're pointing fingers, but Bryce Washington is a guy who has 38 double-doubles in his career, and right now he has 2 points and 4 rebounds, and Reith, I think, is one of the big reasons why.
Stroman back at the line for the Raging Cajuns. 26 seconds left to go in this third quarter. 9 rebounds tonight for Marcus.
That's impressive when you have the number of assists he gets and you're still going to the glass like that. Nine boards for the guard. Play for one.
Skylar Mays with Jamal Waters on the bench. We're on the show right now for LSU. Sampson spinning, shifting, and a foul.
Russell picks up the foul. You know, it's not illegal to be awkward. Just because a guy's stumbling doesn't mean he traveled, but you have a hard time convincing Bob Marlin of that right now. I say that all the time when I was coaching. It's not illegal to be awkward. We have a lot of awkward players. Don't penalize us for that.
And he got some awkward announcers, too. Sampson good on the first free throw. It's been a fun night here in Baton Rouge so far.
This is a nice answer by LSU, though. They were seriously knocked on their heels down to a 3-point game, and all of a sudden, with a burst, they're back up 8 again.
Bartley will check back in for the Raging Cajuns here in the final seconds, and P.J. Hardy comes in as well.
Well, let's see if they can find Bartley and get a last-second shot. They have the arrow to start the next quarter, so if they can score here, they can get a little mini run. It's going to be a tall order, though, with just 3 seconds to go.
Not a lot of time to work with here. LSU brings the defense up just a bit. And Stroman.
Oh, he zipped it.
Stove. He can hit that. Off the glass.
Well,
and off the rim.
That was an inbounds pass. See, on their baseball team, that was zipped. That really turned it into a scoring opportunity. And LSU, lucky, that's likely to get out of there without giving anything up. And so they'll take an 8-point lead as we go to the fourth quarter here in the NIT.
Welcome back to Baton Rouge. Bob Marlin on the right, Will Wade on the left. Two outstanding head coaches here tonight leading their programs in the winner of this game gets the winner of Utah and UC Davis. And I will say this about the NIT. If you've coached or played in college basketball, it's definitely not for the comfort of schedules. The way the turnaround is, how quickly you find out where you're going, the travel schedules, everything gets kind of turned upside down, doesn't it, Bob?
Well, that's the all postseason. The NCAA is the same thing. You have a short turnaround. Great defensive play to start the second half by Edwards for the steal. And now an offensive rebound. And LSU makes 2 effort plays to start the second half. To start the fourth quarter, excuse me.
This game is convenient as possible for both teams. Of course, Cajuns just had an hour drive from Lafayette. Anwasor pulling up from just beyond the elbow.
That was 3/4 of the way down, and he's the one who got the offensive rebound. But LSU, good defensive play to take any opportunity away from the Cajuns on the first possession.
Russell for 3. Knocks it down.
You love when a guy can step into a 3 like that. That's the best. Squared up, stepping into it. Percentages are appreciably higher, and it's back to a 5-point game.
For the Raging Cajuns to have a chance down the
Oh,
stretch.
my God, excuse me.
As a 10-second call is going to be on Skylar Mays.
A careless turnover. He's not even being pressured. Oh, boy, that is another unforced error. That is going to be the 13th turnover on LSU.
Now, rarely do you see that call. Anwasor is going to get a spot on the bench. That's a tough call.
That's the right call. The shot clock is right there for the whole arena to see. You have to call it.
Extra possession now for the Raging Cajuns.
They need a good shot here.
Bartley has been the star. Trying to create separation. He is getting a lot of attention by that LSU defense.
Reith, that's just his first foul, the big fella. It's an automatic foul. You put 2 hands on the dribble. The officials are instructed to call that.
It point to a lot of things, but I think Reith has really, truly been the difference in this game.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Bartley lost it. Got it to Washington, though, in traffic.
Ooh, that had all sorts of emotion on that play. Looked like a turnover, looked like a layup, looked like a travel. Nothing came up.
Tremont Waters, the freshman for LSU. 4 points tonight, got 5 assists to go with it. Here's Reith down on the block, and Washington commits the foul.
Boy, when the game gets a little bit wobbly, where are they going? Throw it into number 1, and he has responded.
That'll be the 3rd foul on Washington. Reith, tremendous field goal percentage, over 50%. Most improved player on this team. Coach Wade pointed immediately at his number when I asked him who has been the guy who has really made you the most happy this year. Who's the guy you're most proud of? He says, without question, number 1.
Yeah, he volunteered that with me too. We were talking about Waters, and he said, hey, don't forget, Reith can play a little bit as well. Just a 61% free throw shooter, but he looked good on that one. 12 points a game. The thing is, LSU has to rebound by committee, though. Nobody averages even 6 rebounds a game. So they got to get to the glass by committee. The big fella looking good at the stripe.
Tigers tonight, 12 of 15 from the line. Good pass to Washington, and that's the easiest finish he's had all night.
Well, that was heavy lifting by Stroman. Beautiful job of knowing where he was. He turned his back. Everybody thought, well, he's not going to pass it over there, is he? As a matter of fact, he was. Good vision. Big guy again.
Here's Reith. Great spin move. Was denied, though, by Gant. And now the Cajuns 3-on-3. Bartley for 3.
Boy, they are dodging bullets because that is a step-in 3, and that is as open as he'll be all night. Wow, that looked like it might get to 2, but LSU, again, gritty, holding them off.
Tigers keeping the Cajuns kind of at arm's length. Yep. Louisiana has had several runs here in the second half, and there's the big fella with the jump hook.
Yeah, but what a nice delivery. I mean, you talk about the maturity of a freshman that Waters has for a freshman.
Washington off the glass.
That was a good job of moving without the ball. The drive came, he slid around behind him, got a shot that he's comfortable making.
A double-double machine for Louisiana.
That's not tonight, but there's still time left. 5-point game.
Bryce Washington has pulled down nearly 1,100 rebounds in his career. Just has done so much good work. Mays, swish for LSU, his first three-pointer in a long time.
The assists are stacking up now for Waters. Beautiful pass there. And the swish as the net flip up on the way to an 8-point lead for the Tigers.
Dwabrith, the man of the moment right now, 22 points, 9 of 13 shooting, 8 rebounds to go with it.
That last stat may be the most telling because this is a good rebounding team, the Cajuns. And right now, in fact, they are 17th in the country in rebound margin. They have no edge at all. And as we said, LSU has nobody who averages even 6 rebounds a game. Reith, rising to the occasion, has 8 already.
Frank Bartley still the top man for the Raging Cajuns. He's got 19, but hasn't scored in a while.
That's a set play for him right there off of a back screen.
Washington shook free, and he is fouled. They're going to get Darrell Edwards with a hack.
It's a nice little play. He came off a back screen and flared, caught it, made the defense run at him. When they did, he was able to go by on the dribble and find the cutter. Washington draws the foul.
Well, how much has Bryce Washington meant to the Raging Cajuns this year? Coach Marlin says he has been so good that he actually looks to Washington for motivation. Anytime the team is struggling, he says this guy is the student athlete of the year on campus in Lafayette. And when you talk about a guy who in 4 years has worked his behind off, nobody has done it quite like Bryce Washington. His parents were king and queen of Zulu at Mardi Gras even.
Can't beat that. Yeah, he told me there's 400 student athletes, and he was the student athlete of the year. He said he's like having another point guard on the floor, even though he's an inside power player.
Shot from the corner, no good. And Cajuns within 7.
Here they come again.
Stove trying to warm up. Off the front of the rim. Washington creating havoc inside. They'll stay with the Cajuns.
And that is a man's rebound there, even though it wound up being a team rebound. You're right, Washington goes up. Watch him. There's like 4 white jerseys there. Slides in. Forces them to knock it out of bounds. And again, the fans don't like the call.
Pick and roll to Washington. He'll take it straight up on Reith. Second chance rejected twice.
2 different blockers. Epps the first time, Reith the second, and the crowd appreciates the defensive effort.
Here's Waters now. And Chamont held it up just a little bit, and a foul committed.
I'll tell you, he has such a savvy for a freshman. They run a double high screen. He can go either way. He goes left and gets the defender Bartley on his back and just plays it like he's blocking him out on a rebound and forces him to foul him to get around him.
Well, you said coming in, Bob, that this game tonight had probably more storylines than any other in the entire first round of the NIT. I would certainly have to agree.
Well, you got 2 teams geographically close together. The history has not been one of consistently meeting each other, and that's rubbed some people the wrong way. You got a team coming off their best season ever, 27 wins.
If you are Coach Wade tonight, Bob, how much pressure is on you because you're playing against a school with nothing to lose?
Well, the only thing I would say is what helps him is it's his first year. And you got to give a guy a little latitude in your first year. I mean, he's already done incredible things from last year. There's so many statistical areas, not the least of which is wins, that they're much better. But you're right, this is a game where they expect the team from the SEC to be a team from the Sun Belt. That's just the reality of it.
Here's Reith. He has been so active. He is dominating this game.
Right hand, left hand, 3-point shots. He has really been outstanding tonight.
Here's Bartley trying to tee up another 3. Gone a little bit cold, and Reith with another board.
And that is going to get him to a double-double. That's his 10th rebound. What a game he's had. He has been absolutely the most influential player on either team tonight.
Raging Cajuns last led with 3:50 to go in the first quarter. Since then, it has been all Tigers.
Look at the big guy move without the ball, too. Look at the sense of spacing.
Oh, Mays was cutting down the lane. He had the perfect pass, but couldn't handle it. Stroman.
Look who comes back.
Marchetti can't put it in. Every shot contested.
See a big fella get down the floor and challenge, though.
Waters, high off the glass. Can sense the Tigers going for the knockout blow here.
Reith with a block, and almost another block. And a little sportsmanship on top of it. As he helps Stove to his feet. Oh, this crowd, or at least the purple-clad crowd, is appreciative of the effort as they've extended it back to an 11-point lead. And again, let's not ignore the fact that it all starts with LSU's defense holding this team that averages 83 points a game to just 37% shooting and only 61 points at this point.
Johnathan Stove at the line playing in what could be his final game as a Raging Cajun. Had a chance to do a game last year, Bob, where Johnathan Stove hit a half-court shot at the buzzer to beat ULM. It was the Sports Center top play and one of the best moments of Stove's career. So much energy. Switched his number this year from 22 to 30 to honor his late grandfather. Real classy move from Johnathan.
Very, very impressive group of Cajuns, but their work is cut out or their season's going to end tonight.
Just over 4 minutes to play here. 9-point lead for LSU. Come Waters, guarded tightly by Bartley. Waters, the lob! And a foul is going to be called. It'll be an offensive foul, wave off the alley-oop.
Wow, that's a good defensive play there. It's a nice pass, but Waters didn't stop his momentum, so he picks up the charge, and now he's got 4 fouls. Take a look at the defense here. Splits the two defenders, throws the pass, and floats right into Stove. Not much contact there, to be honest, but Stove did all he could do, because if he doesn't try for that, it's going to be a dunk.
Now the coaches on the LSU side just irate.
That was not a really hard contact.
And a foul call there is going to make these fans even more unhappy.
That's the last thing they need right now with 3:59 to play is to put them on the line and let them cut into this gap without using any clock.
That'll be the 3rd foul on Edwards.
Stroman's 8th point, 4 of which have come at the line. All of his points in the second half have come at the line.
9.6 assists. The assist mark right at his average.
Yeah, but 10 rebounds. How about that? I mean, that's very impressive. A little extended defense here.
Cajuns need stops, and they have struggled in stretches here tonight to do that. Open 3 for X. Off this time, Stroman with the board. Marcus Stroman. Off the glass, little too strong. Stove there for the follow, and 1.
They are a resilient bunch. They just will not go away. Just when you think you might have had double-digit lead and taken the starch out of them, they come after you yet again, and that's going to make Will Wade bring Reith back in.
And now 6 straight by the Cajuns as Stove goes to the line, and Reith. You know, Reith has been that energy guy for LSU every time they've needed a play tonight. It's going down to number 1.
They haven't been able to get it to 1 possession, though. They've gotten it to 4, and now it's 4 again.
Critical moment in this game. 3.5 to play from Baton Rouge.
No Waters on the floor. It's going to be Mays directing the offense.
Epps Waters inside, and Washington over the back as he was trying to defend.
I'll tell you what. Among the other accolades we've thrown Reith's way tonight, he has shot it, he's hustled, he's scored inside, right-hand, left-handed. I'm amazed at how well he moves his feet for a guy that size. That's what that was all about. He would not let the defender get an angle on him. The only way he could stop him was to foul him.
Epps goes out, Waters comes in, and a timeout called on the floor. 72-68. Coach Marlin wanted this game tonight at the Cajun Dome in Lafayette. He says we got the better record. Our program overall has been better over the last few years. Not too happy that he had to come here to the Maravich Center. They're happy for the matchup, but they thought this game would have been better suited in Lafayette. I think maybe they had a little bit of a point.
Well, you know, the legendary announcer Vince Scully used to use a quotation all the time I love. People use statistics the way a drunk uses a lamppost, for support, not illumination. So usually you find a stat that supports your case, but in his case, there's some compelling ones. They had 10 more wins, and their RPI was 30 spots ahead. That's not insignificant. What LSU would say is, oh yeah, well, take a look at the quadrant 1 wins. Who won that battle? So you pick your stats. That's how it works.
LSU had 7 wins against teams in the RPI top 50. No teams with compelling cases. Right now, the Tigers leading by 4. Here's Waters. Stays on his feet. Nearly went down that time, and now 7 to shoot. And we're going to get a hand check on Cedric Russell, as we'll step aside for a moment. Just under 3 minutes to play. LSU and Louisiana getting down to the nitty-gritty. Catch every moment of the 2018 NCAA Women's Championship on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. The best time of year in all of sports, in my opinion. March.
Oh, I think you should exchange gifts in March Madness. That's how exciting it is. You know, you look at numbers, how did the game turn a bit? Really, for the Cajuns, it turned here. They had 18 second chance points to 8 now for LSU at the half. The margin was only 1, so that has been a big part of it, getting some easier buckets by going to the offensive glass.
72-68. Felios and Bob Valvano. Drop Reith has dominated tonight. Over to Waters, who is rejected by Johnathan Stove, and a foul call.
Well, there's some foul trouble now. 4 on Washington, 4 on Russell, 4 on Waters. That was a set play out of the timeout by Will Wade, and obviously Bob Marlin, anticipating they'd go to the big guy, instructed them to double on the pass, and they set a good double team up, and a good basket cut created the foul.
Waters 80% from the free throw line this year.
That's on you.
Never fails.
Yeah, I hope people have your email address or Twitter handle so the LSU fans can write you notes.
Waters single-handedly took down Mizzou earlier this season. 28 points against Mississippi State and that final SEC game last week. So Onwuasor will come in, and Tremont goes to the bench with 2:44.
Doesn't want to have him on the floor playing defense with 4 fouls. Can't be as aggressive as you'd like. I'm sure he'll shuttle him back in on the offensive end.
What are you looking for right now if you're the Raging Cajuns?
Well, I would have thought they'd find Bartley somewhere. Here he comes. There it is, right there.
Easy call.
How do you not go to him? My goodness. Little curl. Great play without the ball, and now they've got it to that 1-possession game we talked about. And unfortunately for Wade, he doesn't have Waters on the floor because there was no stoppage of play.
Cajuns have worked so hard to get back in this game. Mays sweeping in the lane, can't hit. And now a chance to pull within 1 or possibly tie. 3-pointer on the way. It's short. Bartley comes up with it though.
Good composure. There was nothing there. They'll get excited and force one up.
Remember, shot clock resets to 20 seconds, so they got a little time here. Washington can't connect. And the crowd wants a foul on the Louisiana side.
Steal!
On the deck, though, Bartley for 3. Another second chance. And finally a bucket. They're within one.
Well, that was sheer determination. They just willed that ball in the basket. What a finish we have brewing here. Might want to call a timeout and there you go, and get your guy back in the game. Waters in the game for your offense here. Here he comes.
How about 20-second chances tonight for the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana in the second half? Bob, they have pounded the boards.
Yeah, they only had, I believe they had 7 at the half. I'll check my stat sheet, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So the second half, they've just dominated. It was 7-6 at halftime, and now it is 20-8. So they've outscored them 13-2 in second chance points. And that last basket was a pretty good example. Did they get some of the just sheer effort rebounds, bodies flying all over the building? They came up with it and cut it to a 1-point game. Saw right there the chaos that ensued, but it was chaos that benefited Louisiana to cut it to 1. Now can they get a stop? Obviously you got to get the ball in Waters' hands. Do they throw it inside to the big fella? Let's see what Will Wade's got up his sleeve.
90 seconds to play here from Baton Rouge. LSU and Louisiana.
Double screen. Now he's going to go back, get re-screen. He's looking inside. Going to get a ball screen.
Waters.
Oh, that's a dangerous pass. Oh, what a bad foul that is.
Bartley looked like he had a chance of a steal that time.
They really defended it well. They didn't get hung up in the screen. And then, as you said, Bartley anticipated. He was looking to shoot that gap. Just missed it. But meanwhile, they had a foul on Stroman. That'll send the very good free throw shooting Waters to the stripe.
Waters tonight from the line, 1 for 2.
An impressive, he just has an impressive presence on the floor. I mean, if you watch him play, it's obvious he's a gifted player, but my goodness, he looks like a 4-year starter with the way he lets the game come to him and understands when to go, when to push, when to pull it out, when it's time for him to shoot the basketball.
This is so calm.
And he makes big free throws late. Make 3 in a row here.
Big free throws in big moments. Back to a 3-point lead for the Tigers.
See if they go back to Bartley. They run it to the other side this time.
Ball was knocked away.
On a defensive play, that's twice now for Edwards with steals. 1 to start the half and 1 late in the half.
And that's going to be it for Bryce Washington, the senior. And what could be the final time he comes out of the game for the Raging Cajuns.
Boy, for all the good things Stroman has done, that's his 5th turnover of the game. That's too many for a guy of his ability handling the ball. He's had 13 rebounds, Stroman, and 7 assists. I mean, just incredible presence in the game, but an untimely turnover there.
7.7 rebounds for Washington as he exits. Darrell Edwards now at the line for LSU. Junior college transfer, like a coach on the floor for the Tigers.
And another terrific free throw shooter at 84%. I jinxed him that time, but still a 2-possession game.
3 from the corner. Reith with a rebound for LSU and a quick foul. They'll stop the clock with 48 seconds to play.
As good a player as Gant is, he's just a 33% three-point shooter. He hasn't made one yet today. I got to think somehow, somewhere on that possession, it's got to go to number 4, but he didn't get his mitts on it at all. Good look, though. I mean, he did have a good look.
Tigers doing a good job defending Bartley the last few possessions, making sure he doesn't hurt them as Reith steps back up. What a brilliant performance for Dwight Reith.
I mean, he's a guy who's percentage-wise not a great free throw shooter, and he's perfect at the stripe so far today. 3 of 3.
One of the best games in his LSU career. He did have 31 against Vandy, but I don't think it was the complete performance that we've seen here tonight.
Look at him, boy. He's a 61% free throw shooter. He's got 4 for 4. 5 for 5, actually.
Cajuns have got to have a bucket here. Ball goes in. They want the continuation. I don't think they're going to get it.
I don't think. Even the NBA, I'm not sure they'd give you that one. But it was a great effort by Stroman. He's doing as much as he can. I mean, you talk about stuff in the stat sheet. My goodness. 11 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. Maybe running out of time, though, here now. It was a big couple of opportunities for LSU where they converted free throws.
That one's short. Cajuns 76% from the line this year as a team. As Gant comes out, and Marchetti checks in. One of 2.
Going to need a turnover. They're obviously, to state the obvious, but I'd say that especially because I don't think this team's going to miss too many free throws.
Do you foul immediately here?
I think if you don't get a steal, you're going to have to. You're going to run out of time.
Edwards fouled.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good decision. You try for a backcourt steal. If you don't get it, you foul in the front court. But how about the composure of LSU? I mean, who handled the ball that possession? They got it right to Edwards as soon as they could, the 84% free throw shooter.
That's going to be 4 fouls now on Bartley. Missed free throw. So the Cajuns hoping to get a possession here. Still not out of the woods yet. It is LSU. 78-73 here, the final minute.
Yeah, it's a good point because if he makes both those, it turns it into a 3-possession game. Now it'll stay a 2-possession game no matter what he does here. For LSU, you think of possessions, no threes.
Johnathan Stove had his pocket picked.
And there was Edwards in there again, wasn't he?
Been so good tonight defensively, getting in on passes and steals. And now the Tigers can maybe stand up and stretch just a little bit.
Yeah, 84% free throw shooter at the line, and he makes 1. There'll be 3 possessions there. Just running out of time on the Cajuns with 27.5 to go.
A lot of anticipation coming into this game. You know, it was amazing to see all of the local TV stations.
Oh, my gosh.
Probably from all over Louisiana were here in the pregame.
You aren't kidding. When we walked in, I thought they'd called a press conference or something. There were cameras everywhere.
At the end of the day, it's got to be great for basketball in this state.
Don't foul him.
Stove.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
And Johnathan Stove going to have free throws with 21 seconds to play. Have to figure the recruiting wars that go on. And granted, you've got SEC against the Sun Belt, a major Power 5 against a mid-major conference. But still, games like this matter a lot, don't they, to recruits, to the buzz around the state?
They certainly do. I mean, you're going to beat Bob Marlin and say, you know, you're the champion of the state. You have an opportunity to prove it on the other guy's court. And if you're Will Wade, you're trying to build a program and say, hey, listen, you know, we're an SEC team with Final Four banners hanging in our building. We're going to get ourselves back up to that level, and that means you take on any and all comers in your own backyard.
Coach Wade has got the number 3 ranked recruiting class coming in here next year. They're going to be a handful in 2019.
Stove with 16, and he hasn't missed a free throw either.
Breakaway time. Sampson.
That's the icing on the cake. You really have to tip your hat to the composure LSU has showed under pressure. My goodness, they have not let the full court press bother them at all. And that's the exclamation point there.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's his 3rd spectacular dunk of the night. But the heavy lifting was done before that. Heath with the great job coming to get the ball against the pressure and then making the pass out of the double team.
Frank Bartley's career is done at Louisiana. What a career it was. 2 outstanding years over 1,000 points, first-team All-Sun Belt performer. And great respects for the senior as he leaves the floor.
Well, they didn't leave anything behind, I'll say that. They dug themselves out of a 12-point halftime hole, and they were in there the whole last 20 minutes. But LSU, great resiliency to hold them off.
8-point game, 18 seconds to play. We've seen so many great dunks tonight by Mays and Sampson and Epps and Reith as well. And the Tigers can now get ready for round 2. LSU getting the winner of Utah and UC Davis.
Well, they'll be rooting hard, I would assume, for a UC Davis upset, which would give them another home game. But this is their first NIT win in this building. So put that to bed. They lost 3 straight here, and now they'll get a win here and see if they can get another home game.
Make it 7 in a row here at the PMAC. This is such a great venue. Older venue, but you walk in, it's just got that mystique, that aura about it. And these fans tonight have done a great job supporting their team as Dwight Reith exits. And what a night for the senior. 26 points and 11 rebounds.
Yeah, they really did. I was here many years ago. They did a great job renovating this. And what happened here? They're getting into it with the coaches?
And it looks like Coach Marlin, upset that time, comes over to the LSU side. And the LSU coach is letting them have it a little bit. And we got a technical on both sides.
That's not a good look, fellas. You know, every game's got a winner and a loser. That's the way it's been forever. It's a zero-sum game. Just a proud year. 2 very, in different ways, successful seasons. One a record-setting season for wins. The other a complete turnaround. You don't want to leave with this as your last memory of this. We're going to get an explanation here, though.
So a double technical on both benches.
Pretty straightforward.
Coach Wade, only 35 years old. You know, when we asked him earlier on today, how much does this game mean? And he kind of shrugged it off and said, it's just another game. We have to win to advance. Kind of got the feeling that he was feeling a little bit of pressure, a little bit of heat, and you kind of sensed right there, Bob, that he kind of boiled over a little bit.
I told you before the game, I didn't sense that at all. He was as fired up, and he's intense, but you could sense there was a lot riding on this. There was some bad blood. The Raging Cajuns knew they were going to the NIT because they were the regular season champions. They did a watch party. They thought that some of the people at LSU made fun of them for that when LSU people were lobbying to be in the NIT to begin with, and they were like, make your mind up. Are you happy to be here? Are you mocking it? And it's just, as you said, when you're the SEC team, let's not kid ourselves. There's more pressure on you. And it's not a good way to end this game, though.
Coach Marlin telling the media that this game should have been in Lafayette. I guarantee you some of those quotes have been read by both coaching staffs, and saw some of that intensity boiling over just a little bit.
Let's all get out of here with handshakes and graciousness. I mean, they're still standing, jawing at each other. Well, that's unfortunate if they don't shake hands.
I don't think we're going to have a friendly handshake after this contest.
A, we like the competitiveness. B, we like the fact they took the game very seriously. But C, somebody has to lose, and you got to put a proud face for your institution on walking away from this. And right now they're on the cusp of not doing that. I mean, let the ball come in bounds. Don't foul. Shake hands. Great effort. And that's the way it should end, but I don't know if it will. We'll see.
Emotion certainly running high here in the final minute.
I may attack you.
Please don't. 84-76. LSU can take a deep breath. It was not easy tonight, and we did see a handshake from the coaches, but Coach Wade has got to be careful over there. He's a little bit in enemy territory.
There's a little bit of the blow-by handshake, but I did notice that Bob Marlin went out of his way to shake hands with Waters and put his arm around him and congratulate him. And he's shaking hands, and he's went out of his way to shake hands with a number of the LSU players, but evidently the coaching staffs are the ones that are having the hissy fit.
I was about to say, the players
hugging each other, embracing, and
obviously tremendous respect with one another. The players, the coaches, the ones right now who look like they are full of frustration, at least on the LSU side. Tigers will get out of here with a win. They'll await the winner of Utah and UC Davis. And it was an exciting night of basketball. Kind of a sour taste the way it finishes.
It's really unfortunate because you could have walked out of here and both teams could have been proud. We're still not out of here yet. That's really so unfortunate. The Cajuns put up a great fight in the second half to come back and cut it to 3. LSU showed great resilience to win. Now it's time to show some class and get to your locker room, fellas.
84-76. This one ends with a little bit of a bitter taste, but it was a great night of basketball here in the first round of the NIT. Hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. For Bob Valvano, I'm Drew Fellio saying so long from the Pete Maravich Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Final score 84-76. You're watching NCAA NIT basketball on ESPN. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next round. Tigers take it tonight.